Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I would like now to address the House's agenda for domestic violence in this coming session. Now, for the last decade, this body has led the way in combating domestic violence in Virginia. We have taken on issues like the exception for marital rape and forcible sodomy, written policies for the investigation of domestic violence claims. We've established SARTs, which are the sexual assault response teams. We've dramatically expanded protective orders. And just last year, we took on campus sexual assault with an omnibus bill that is actually the first of its nature in the entire country. We will continue that work this year. Now, the issues we are going to seek to address this year are twofold. The first would be we're seeking to address repeat offenders and also to empower crime victims. Now, repeat offenders, as everyone knows, particularly those of us that are former prosecutors, repeat offender is someone who commits the crime, gets arrested, gets convicted, gets released, and goes out and does it again. All of us remember cases where these are the most dangerous offenders, the people that are most likely to commit a more serious offense, and obviously the ones that put their victims at the greatest risk. The bills we have to address this are several. The first would be my House Bill 610. It would say that if you commit a crime against someone who has a protective order against you, it will be a felony. So the woman gets a protective order. The man is ordered to stay away. Not only does he violate the protective order, but he comes and commits an assault and battery, or he stalks her. We're going to make that a felony. The second is Delegate Albo's House Bill 886. Under current law, there was a bill by Delegate McClellan that made some second offense stalking offenses a felony. We're going to make them all felonies. If you stalk, get convicted, get released, go out, stalk again, we'll make it a felony. Delegate Gilbert has a bill, House Bill 1087, that says if you violate a protective order while in possession of a dangerous firearm, we'll make that a felony. I have another bill that says that if you commit a second offense against the same person, currently it's a third offense as a felony for many of these charges, domestic assault and battery stalking, we're going to say second offense against the same person is a felony. Delegate Klein has a bill that says that if you are charged and convicted of domestic assault and battery, or even are taken under the first offender program, you will have to get counseling. Now, for the non-lawyers, a felony is a much more serious charge. With a misdemeanor, you can go to jail for a year. It's often resolved by probation and a fine. Felony involve lengthy prison sentences, lengthy probation, and when you get out, much more serious probation. The penalties are much higher, and there are other additional consequences. These charges being treated as felonies will elevate them and will help prevent these charges from happening again. Now, in addition, we have a number of bills to help empower crime victims. Delegate Gilbert has two bills, House Bill 767 and 768, which would say that when you get a protective order, you will also get a concealed carry permit, that you will then be able to defend yourself if you can't get time to get the police there. He also has a bill that will require training for those who don't feel comfortable with their knowledge of how to use a firearm to protect themselves. His bill will provide training. I have a bill that says that we've always had a problem with stalking where we don't know how to define it. When does annoying conduct become scary? We're going to flip it. We're going to say it's when the victim says it does. And if she tells the person, you stay away from me, he has to stay away from her. We took that from North Dakota after a whole year of study. Last, Delegate Peace has a budget amendment to provide $2 million for each of the next 2 years for additional services for those who are victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. This will help make sure that when someone is a victim, she can get help in the community where she lives. This is a project that we've worked on for many, many years. Our goal, of course, is to prevent the violence and make sure the most frightening and dangerous offenders are not in a position to do it again. It is one of the few areas we've been able to achieve consensus over the last decade. So we are hopeful that this is not a place. We have so many fights in this body, House, Senate, Republican, Democrats, the governor's mansion, the legislature. This is one we hope that can pass. And so I would welcome everybody's support for these measures, and we hope we can get them out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.